So this topics today that I'm going to talk about with everyone is essentially more importantly about mindset. A lot of the work that I do is mindset, and a lot of people I work with is improving their mindset to achieve their goals. And I ask myself all the time, I've got a couple of questions that I've asked myself, and I've got a couple of questions I've asked off listeners that I'm going to answer today. So, one of the questions I commonly get asked is, how do you build a stronger mindset? And, you know, the fundamentals of it are really simple. And you can go in so many ways about and how you can build a stronger mindset. But a stronger mindset comes down to the fact that it's doing things which are going to improve you, but there's some resistance towards that. And when I think about that, sometimes it's because we haven't done these habits before. So, for me to build a stronger mindset, that is sticking to my word. When I stick to my word, when I stick to what I've set out for myself, it's all on me then. And if I can't even stick to my own word, then how am I expected to be respected by others? It's okay to cut corners then. It's okay to think, all right, yeah, I can do that tomorrow. And it doesn't essentially work that way. So for me to build a stronger mindset, it's putting in structure, it's putting in habits, it's putting in things which are going to make me accountable. And if they don't happen, then there's a fine line between that, and there's a repercussion if you don't achieve these things. And I reflect on my past in rugby, or I reflect on the triathlons I've done, or competitions in CrossFit, or whatever it is, or if I set out myself to do a trail run, something happens when you hit that pay button, or something happens when you go, I'm doing this, and your brain just goes into, we've got to pull our finger out of our ass here, and that's a good place to happen, because if you ever find yourself, when have you ever done anything which has made you stronger from a comfortable position? And that's a really important question there. When have you ever moved the needle forward without feeling some form of pressure? Because pressure is something that we all need. So like I said, building a stronger mindset comes from setting structures, setting goals in place which we can take into improving us as a person. If that's, losing weight, or if that's more endurance, or if that is pursuing a career or getting into a team, or if it's improving my workspace. Some of the things we got to do on there essentially are going to improve us, but we don't want to do it. But the reality is, about all of these things, there are only 1%ers. If that is getting up a little bit early in the morning, that is a 1%. If that is prepping your food the night before, that is a 1%. If it's reading that book, which is going to impact you, that's a 1%. But as you can see, you've added a couple 1% to your day now. You do that over time, you build unbelievable strength, internal strength. And you're not easily led. For instance, you look at your body in an internal way, and you think you have your core strengths, your core values, and your core beliefs. If you're not respected internally by yourself, then the words that we get said from other people hit us even harder. And that's a really, really interesting way of looking at life. Because if your core beliefs are strong enough and you've got this self-respect, you're not easily pushed. You're not easily led down astray. You've got a bit of backing in yourself, and you trust yourself. But if you don't believe in yourself, then things slip away. So the next question I've got you is, from your own journey, what made you change? Wow, that's a good one. There's so many avenues I can look at this, but if I was to say to you, what made me change? I think it's when you're in a dark hole or a place of uncertainty in life, and you don't like that feeling, and you've got to change. And again, where you want to go has got to outweigh the emotional feeling that you're getting right now. If that's feeling overwhelmed, if that's feeling depressed, if that's feeling anxious, if that's feeling like I'm not sure where I'm meant to be going in life. Where you want to go has got to outweigh where you are right now. You're not going to move into a place which is going to take you even further down. So how I changed myself is realizing that I needed to make a change. I didn't like the way I was living. Life sucked. I felt not respected. I felt, again, going back to our first question, not feeling like I, believed in myself, and realizing that to build the person that I want to become, and feel powerful, impacted to myself and others around me, then I've got to make some changes, and I've got to let go of a lot of things. And when you let go of a lot of things which aren't serving you anymore, there's room for improvement. But that line there of the past, being kept in the past and moving into your future. These are so many things that, you've got to let go of, And that was a key element for me, is making that change, and literally sitting with yourself. You'll know deep down in your core, if you're sitting there late at night or looking in the mirror, looking at yourself, say, are you happy with yourself? And the answer that comes back internally will tell you where you got to go and what you need to do and what you need to change. Next question that I've been giving you is, what are the 3 types of changes to impact you? So I think in any way in life, physical is the first place. It doesn't have to mean you got to turn out like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but eternally changing. So that is, starting to go for walks, if you've never run, or if it is starting to run, or if it's building up pace, or going to train in the gym, or doing things which is going to shift your physical. Because when we see changes in the physical, then we feel confident enough to change our mental. We back ourselves. Like I said, it all builds from the core. So when you build that and you build this self-respect within yourself, that is the key element. And then from that, then you change your mental. So that's when you get confidence from the body, it moves into the brain. And then from the brain, then you start to get clarity on where you want to go. You start taking those steps in that area. You start building structure, habits, and beliefs, which are going to take you to that next stage. And then from that, then it's the emotional. Because the reality is, right, you can change your body because you're not happy with it. So you can put structures in place, you can put habits in place which are going to change that. But if you don't change your emotional, or shift your emotional, the thought process, the patterns that we tell ourselves, and the limiting beliefs that we put on ourselves, then when you get to the stage of hitting that peak of transformation, as they say, and you stop, that's when you fall back into old habits. So the emotional shift is just as important as them all. But if you can work on your physical, mental, and emotional, and even go by saying spiritual as well, then you're on a good foot of going in the direction you want to go, and living with fulfillment, living with meaning in your life. And that's a key element. I would rather pick being internally happy and proud of my decisions than making other people happy, making sure that I fit into society or fit into certain circles of social realms. My next question to you: how to focus on improving daily? Well, rule number 1, never compare yourself to anyone else. Never compare yourself to people who have been doing it longer than you. Get inspired by them, but don't compare yourself, because it's not going to feel good. Um, the best way that I can say to you to feel and improve is just literally tell yourself, hey, today, all I need to do is be 1% better than yesterday. So that is continuing and adding that little 1%. Because life is literally a flow. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. But if you realize life is just a game and you're a part of this game and you play along and you just accept, if I just get better 1% every day, you'll be happy. Yeah, you'll be happy with that one. It's when we try and keep up with the Joneses. That's when, keeping up with the Joneses, that saying is, that's when, it's different. So these concepts that I've already told you right now is shifting all the time. It's shifting, improving, bettering ourselves. But if we literally look at it in a perspective that it is 1% that we need to add every day, then then you're just becoming that optimized man or optimized person, and you're living with purpose. You're living within your purpose, and that's the best thing ever. Next question is 3 books to read. Well, again, it all depends on what it is your intentions are. So, but if I was to say to myself and I reflect on my journey, there's 3 books that I really recommend, and I found so much joy out of them, reflection, and everyone had a meaning to me of what I wanted out of it. And I've read loads of books now, but these 3, I think, if you're starting off or if your experiences, they're great ones. So the first one I'd say is Atomic Habits. So habits which are going to improve you, habits which are bettering you, and literally breaking it down so fundamentally that you can't screw up. For instance, if you don't know how to run or you don't like running, everyone knows how to run, but I mean, if you don't like running, but you know you got to do it, it's just putting things in place or making things in front of you that you can't screw up. They're always in front of you. Because realistically, right, when we try and shift our mindset and we try to start new habits and new patterns, the reason why we forget those patterns and habits is because they're not hardwired into us yet. Like, for instance, you brush your teeth in the morning. You've done it since the age you were born, since the day you were born. So brushing your teeth is normal. It's hardwired into you. But if you're not into running or you haven't started running yet, running is not a normal part of your life yet. So doing that is putting shoes in front of the door or putting your clothes out ready for the next day. So, your running top is there, your shorts, socks, X, Y, and Z, the shoes are there. You're ready then. Or for instance, if it is drinking water, and I love this one because so many people say, I can't drink water because 3 liters a day is too much. But I've seen so many people drink 10 pints at the pub within the next, 3 hours. So it's achievable. But for instance, if drinking water is a hard one for you, it's literally putting bottles in rooms and fill them up, and they're just in front of you all the time. So your peripheral, your subconscious is always thinking, okay, that's their water. Drink water. To the stage then that it's slowly but surely hardwiring it into you. And before you know it, you feel better. So Atomic Habits is a great one. A really good aspect in that. And I love one part of the book where he says regarding TV, I think it was around the lines of not wanting to watch enough. He's watching too much TV. So what he did, instead of just flicking it on from the remote or going to the TV, he pulled the plug out the socket. So when he pulled the plug out the socket, the effort it is to get up and go, oh, do I really want to watch TV? And plug it in, switch it on, and go through the whole process. In that moment then, that's a reminder that your brain's telling you, you don't need to watch this. You don't need to jump on TV. You can do other things right now. So Atomic Habits is a great one. Subtle Art and Not Giving a Fuck is my other one. It's just a great book. And I think this one is really good on the perspective of putting yourself first. Making sure that you're looking after number one first, because you are not effective to others if you're not looking after yourself. And I heard this great saying actually the other week. I was on a plane. And when I was on the plane, there was a part of the journey where, just before you start, everyone buckles up and they say, they do go through the safety procedures, but they say this one important part and they go, okay, guys, in a case of emergency and your oxygen mask drops, make sure to put yours on first before you help others. And I was like, wow, that's such a great way of analogy on life. You can't help others unless you help yourself first, unless you look after yourself first. So you can only put that oxygen mask on you first before you help others. So just think about that. It was a epiphany moment. I was like, I love this saying. And the last one I've got you is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it's such a great book. It really breaks down the fundamentals of how you think, processing things, how I look through my lens of life compared to how you look through your lens of life. And reality is no one's really right or wrong. We're just brought up and hardwired a certain way. That's why we think a certain way. But we know we know deep down what's right and wrong for us. There was a great story on there actually regarding the golden goose. I've said it to so many of my friends, are probably sick of me, but the golden goose. So this farmer is always on his farm working away, and he has this goose there. And one day he starts laying um, golden eggs. So he's seen this golden egg. He's thinking, wow, I'm rich. So he goes to the market and he starts selling the golden eggs every day at the market. He makes loads of money, he becomes rich. So day after day, egg after egg, he gets, after a long time now, after a long period of time, he gets frustrated with the fact that it's just one egg. So he goes, you know what? I'm going to change this. I'm going to get my knife and I'm going to cut the goose open. So he goes over and cuts the goose open to check the sack and realizes there's no golden eggs inside the goose. From that day on, then he never makes any money on it, and then he's never happy ever again. And if you put that into your life, we're so driven on the end product. We're so driven on being successful. We're so driven on never having enough that we forget about the processes that got us there. We forget that in order for us to get that golden egg, we've got to prioritize ourselves. We've got to look after our relationships with people. We've got to look after our health. So many people I come across work the career ladder so much that they get to the age of, in their 30s or 40s or older, and they're getting back problems. They're overweight. They're out of shape. The relationships with their partners and their kids absolutely suck, only to chase the golden egg. So what I'm trying to say to you in this moment is, maybe your egg isn't your career. Maybe it is your health. Maybe it is just your wealth or your families, whatever it is. But making sure you're looking after all aspects of the processes that get you there. Because that golden egg will always be there as long as you look after the process. Next question. What is my biggest fear? My biggest fear, that's one I'll have to... My biggest fear is probably not pursuing something to the end. I got a habit of wanting to chase it and give it my all the time. And if I don't do that, I get frustrated. But my biggest fear is, for a long time, was, probably not being liked by certain people. I thought I had to be liked by everyone. I had to please everyone, wanted to help everyone. So a fear of not being liked was a part of me for a long time. The fear of being judged. The fear of... Yeah, the fear of, fitting in. I had to fit in, I thought, for a long time. And this is things, again, hardwired into us in sports, in careers, bosses, friends, social realms. But realizing that internally I was suffering. Internally, this was not better in me. And realizing that, hey, I want to look after me. I've got so many things that I want to pursue, achieve. And the real thing about it all was knowing that this is achievable, but I got to put myself first. And that means sometimes taking a step back from certain people, giving them love from a different distance. Because I got taught this by a mentor. You have layers to friends. So you have your outer layer, you have your middle layer, and then you have your inner circle. So you got to realize over time, if you've come from school, or you've been a party boy or a party woman, whatever it is, there's a stage of you sometimes that these people seep into the inner circle when you're trying to make change, and that's okay. They can be there for a bit until you realize it comes to a breaking point that you can still love these people, but you love them from maybe the middle circle or the outer circle. The people that you want in that inner circle are, instead of gossiping about other people, they're actually getting at it. We're actually talking about our present and our future. We're actually talking about where we can get to, what we can achieve, where we can go. And when you talk this way, energy shifts. You're excited. You're moving in a different direction. But if you let the people come in who like to gossip, we've all got those people in our lives at our stages that, they're great, but they just don't serve us in a certain realm, but we can still love them. We check in them on, every couple of weeks we drop a text, or we give them a call, or we catch up once a month. They're still a part of your friendship, but they're not in the inner circle. The inner circle of people who are calling you out on your bullshit. They're the ones uplifting you. They're the ones supporting you. They're the ones wanting the best for you, just like you are for them. So, guys, that is my wrap up on questions on bettering yourself, on strengthening your mindset, and really getting to know the real you. Because you can achieve so much if you give yourself the chance to do it. You'd be surprised what you can do when you put your mind to it.